So the question is, how much happiness comes with owning an expensive watch? Well, I know for me, the answer is easy because in 2018, I paid $11,290 for this watch. Today, new, this watch is selling for $28,995. As an investment, that's a 156% return in less than 5 years. And by the way, I know the bottom's falling out on Rolexes as an investment, but still used, this is going for $18,995. So by that measure, the happiness of this watch you could say is between $17,000 and $7,000. Depending on what you can get for it. But seriously, gents, today I want to tackle the question, does buying a luxury watch actually make you happier? And if it does, by how much? To do this, gents, I'm going to examine 7 different criteria points, and at the end of this video, I will give you my opinion on whether or not this watch has actually made me happy as an individual. So to start things off, I want to address the elephant in the room, which is a lot of you guys are saying there is no way money can buy you happiness. Gents, I get it, and I want to agree, but there's a lot of research that shows if you don't have enough money, your levels of happiness are really low because you've got tons of money issues. In fact, to be specific, I read that someone needs to be making about $105,000 a year in North America to have reached their peak happiness level. Anything past that doesn't seem to bring that much happiness. And by the way, globally, that number is 60,000. All that being said, according to happiness researchers, which by the way, I happen to have one as a great friend who was a former professor of mine at UT, but these researchers, they talk again and again, it's not about buying a physical item that brings you happiness. It's about the experiences and the freedom it can give you in your life. So why then do watch buyers, watch collectors talk about the euphoria they feel not only after they buy the watch, but even decades later when they're wearing the watch, they feel happiness? Where does this come from? Well, that takes us to the point of association. Watches have become one of those pieces, one of those items that we own that celebrate milestones in our lives. Maybe it's a graduation. Maybe it was a gift that you received from a loved one. I know for me, I purchased this watch when I had my first $1 million year at Real Men Real Style. Now, forgive me if you've heard the story, but building up RMRS to its first $1 million year was a 10-year process that went through a lot of just really tough patches. We went through a bankruptcy. I just had, I lost some investors. It was something that I lost a lot of my own personal savings. And when we had that first $100,000 year, I was just like, God, we're on the right path. Then we had a $200,000 year, then a $400,000 year, then a $700,000 year. And I knew this, 2017, I'm like, we are going to hit $1 million. And when we hit it, it was such a magic number to be able to have a strong profit margin, to be able to employ a dozen people, and to be able to know that I'm having an impact on the world. And for me, when I went and bought this watch, it was a celebration. And every time I wear it, I think back to that one year in which, no one can take that away from me. Nobody can take away that accomplishment and the impact we have. It's the memories, it's the sense of accomplishment, even the story of buying the watch. Actually, Aaron Marino helped me out because he had a contact at a particular store. And this is, again, before the prices started shooting up. You could actually get a 10 to 15% discount if you were paying cash, and boom, I made it happen. Now, gents, watches are cool, but changing gears here really quick, something that brings me a lot more happiness than a watch. You guys know I'm a family man. I've been married for almost 20 years, making sure my family is covered with life insurance. That right there not only gives me happiness, but satisfaction knowing that they are taken care of if something happens to me. Now, gents, I'm bringing this up because today's video is sponsored by Fabric by Gerber Life. Now, I've talked about Fabric before because I love what they're doing. Fabric by Gerber Life was designed by parents, for parents, to help you get a high quality, surprisingly affordable term life insurance policy in less than 10 minutes. And gents, you could be offered coverage instantly with no health exam required. I get it. You don't want anything complicated, any more hassle on your plate. And that's why I love Fabric. They make it so easy to apply with their digital experience. It's all online and on your own time. And if you need extra support, Fabric's team of licensed insurance agents can answer questions along the way. And when it comes to insurance, what I love about Fabric is they are backed by Gerber Life, trusted by millions of families like yours for over 50 years. Gents, they've got over 1,600 five-star reviews over on Trustpilot, so you can feel confident that you're getting a high-quality policy that's perfect for your family. In addition, they've got a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel at any time. To protect your family today, apply today in just 10 minutes at meetfabric.com/RMRS. Again, that's meetfabric.com/RMRS. Seriously, gents, you want to feel better about yourself? Get your family covered with life insurance. Now, the next reason this watch has actually brought me some happiness is it has appreciated in value. I alluded to that at the beginning of this video, but I could sell this used watch for more than what I purchased it. Now, I know inflation takes away from that, but still, there are very few things that a person can purchase that increase in value like that. Now, homes are nice because you can live in them, and in general, they appreciate over time. Land, but watches are one of those few items out there, and I think that's why they're in this special category, because as jewelry pieces, as collector pieces, and not all watches do this. Obviously, G-Shocks are great, but watches maybe that haven't reached an apex in their technology point, so Apple watches are not going to necessarily increase in value unless it's a collector's version, you never open it. Point being is because this has reached its apex point almost 100 years ago, ability to tell time, these watches like this, and because Rolex has limited, and this is also from a brand that I think has limited production, has kind of created that scarcity, and it's become synonymous with high-end watches for most people on the planet. For that reason, yeah, it's just retained value, and that actually does make me happy. Next up, let's talk about the functional aspect. As a watch, it has performed flawlessly. I've just loved wearing this. It tells very accurate time. I maybe lose a couple seconds a month. More often, I'm resetting it because maybe I've got other watches in my collection I'm trying to wear for a few days, so I'll go in there and reset the time. Functionally, also, I have to say that because of the work I do, I was able to buy this with my business. So it's technically owned by my company, but this has popped up in dozens of videos over the last 5 years. And in that sense, I've actually made additional money because I've made entire posts about Rolex. I've talked about this, so I've created content based off of this. So in many ways, I've gotten a lot of functional value from this simple watch. Now, gents, if you're enjoying today's video, do me a favor and smash that like button. Seriously, if you ever worn a nice watch and nobody noticed, yeah, in solidarity, come on, hit that like button. It will make us feel a little bit better that nobody noticed our watches. Next up, let's talk about Rolex as a conversation piece. So I was over at a party and just talking with a gentleman I didn't know super well, and all of a sudden he saw I'm wearing a watch, and he asked what type of watch, and his eyes lit up when he found out it was a Rolex. I wasn't meaning to show off. He was into watches. He's always wanted a Rolex. He was super excited when I took it off of my wrist and I let him wear it, hold it, check it out. I mean, he went and showed his wife. This is an aspiration of his, and you just find these fanatics. I mean, there's a whole club, a whole group of people out there, and it's not just a great conversation starter, but you find it kind of gets you into this watch club. Now, I'd have to say there are so many other people out there that know so much more about watches than me. I mean, I used to always call this thing right here the face. I know I'm supposed to call it the dial. Point being is I know enough to be dangerous, but I am in no way like a super watch expert. But when you wear a watch like this, all of a sudden you become part of the club. You have bought in to the community, and it doesn't matter where you're at in the world, people want to have a conversation about it. Now, you do need to be careful because there are probably some parts of the world where they'll cut your hand right off to take an expensive watch like this, and I do not wear this abroad or in places I am not familiar with. That being said, I just really have enjoyed the conversations that have just started when people notice that you're wearing a watch like this. And on a side note, I don't think I've ever impressed a woman by wearing a Rolex. Women are, from the research I've read, just are drawn to nice watches, but they don't necessarily look at brands. Now, I'm sure there are some women out there that collect watches and they know the brand and what it, if they knew it was a Rolex, maybe. But yeah, anyone recognize a Rolex or recognize the watch they're wearing? I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments. What are your thoughts on this? Now, another reason this watch has actually brought me some happiness is thinking about it. I have never had buyer's regret. Now, my company has gone through some up and downs since we had that really great first $1 million year, and we've had multiple $1 million years since then, but maybe profit margin has gone down, and there have definitely been months in which it's like, wow, I could use an extra $12,000 to the bottom line. But I've never really reached a point in which I said, you know what, I would like to sell. I'd like to get rid of this watch. And this is important because I did have another Rolex, a Submariner, which I have to admit, after I bought it and I only wore it 3 times in a period of 6 months, and I was really forcing myself to wear it, I realized I made a bad purchasing decision. And in that case, I resold that watch. This was at the beginning of the pandemic, so like 2020 late. And I made actually $1,000 on that sale. And related to that last point of buyer's remorse, I could afford it. And I think that's key because I know a lot of people buy things that they can't afford, especially cars. It's something that you really want, that nice car, but 5 years later, you're still making those $1,000 payments and your car is just 5 years. You told it a few years back. It's never ran the same. It's had issues, and yet you are still stuck. You're almost underwater on those payments. And that what was really nice about paying for something straight up front, having the money at the time and realizing, okay, this is going to be a splurge. This is something though that I just really wanted at that point, and I know I'm going to get value from, versus something again that you're making payments on and then you're feeling that pain again and again. Now, really quick, I want to show you a piece right here. So this is an heirloom watch that my son will receive from me. It was owned by his grandfather on his mom's side, and he picked this up, during Soviet Union times. But Sasha passed away. And my son, Sasha, is named after his grandfather. Something like this just has meaning simply because it was owned in the family. There are stories, and it was used again and again. Is it the most accurate timekeeper? Of course not. But it is something that you'll just keep. And I really like the idea that I now have an heirloom piece. And I've actually got a few Rolexes in my collection. I also have a wide variety of other watches, which can stand up to the test of time. But I have a feeling that this watch right here is probably going to be fought over by my kids. I haven't decided which of the 5 is going to get it. I'll probably set them up right there and just throw it out and see which one gets it and let them go to, fisticuffs right there and just, see which one's toughest, right? Now, the area I probably got the least amount of happiness from this, though, was, did I really want it? Was this something for years I was aspiring to have a Rolex? And the answer is no. As a kid, I didn't grow up wanting a Rolex. No one around me owned a Rolex. I never even really knew what Rolexes were until maybe I'd heard about them. You kind of see them in movies here or there, but it wasn't until I got into the style space. First, I was into suits, and I never wore a watch at all. And then I got into fashion watches, as many of you guys have, let me know in the comments. But until I got into fashion watches, I never really paid attention to all the different brands. Within a year of getting into fashion watches, learning, reading more, all of a sudden I started realizing, I would like something really nice, something that would be of heirloom quality that I could pass on. And again, that's when I started wanting it. And then having friends that had these type of watches realized, I do want this, but it was something that built up actually relatively recently. So I'd have to say that, I wasn't scratching a 20-year itch, but it was something that when I bought it, I felt good. If you want to learn more about Rolex watches, check out this video. I made it a few years ago, but it is a detailed guide of the Rolex watch collection, all the different styles. And yes, I do mispronounce one of them. Hey, I was learning, and come on, I always mispronounce things. But guys, go check it out. Solid video. I really enjoyed making it. And it's a good one. Go check it out.